Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Maps and Grabs podcast. As always, I am your host, Lyric Swinton. And yes, there was a hiatus last week. Had a lot to do because, we are preparing for a very, very, very busy week heading into AEW All In weekend. But that's also why we're here today because I have
Mm.
a very special guest who you've seen before. Hi, Charlie.
Hello, happy to be back. It's been a very exciting week for us.
Definitely. And of course, we are talking about all things All In, as well as the Revolution Pro Copperbox show that will be happening the night before. We'll be at both, and it's going to be a great time. And so today we're just going to do a little bit of previewing of what to expect and also how to watch. So
Yes.
without any further ado, let's get into it. So this Rev Pro card, I will say, I can honestly say I think I'm just as excited about this card
Mm-hmm.
as All In. Like I probably just as excited about this card. There's a lot of great stuff on here. Um, so let's start from the bottom. Let's start from the bottom and work our way
Mm-hmm.
up. Subculture versus velocity. So subculture has been killing it this year,
Yeah.
specifically Impact. Them along with Danny Luna have been doing an awesome job in the Impact Tag Team division. They recently took the belts off of Ace Austin and Chris Bay. They don't disappoint in the ring. I've never seen Velocities before, but I think this is going to be good.
I'm pretty familiar with both teams. I've never had the chance to see the Velocities live, so I'm excited for this match in particular. But subculture is so awesome. Like I was there when they won the tag belts, and you can just like feel the energy of the crowd, like how much everyone wanted them to win. So this is going to be a great match. It's tag team wrestling at its finest. Two great teams.
And who did they beat again? Was it the Arrows of Hungary?
No, the Greedy Souls.
Oh, them. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, they beat the
Uh,
Greedy Souls at the July 9th show, Epic Encounter.
Gotcha. And so, moving on, we have the undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship will be on the line in a six-pack challenge. Connor Mills, Robbie X, Wild Boar, Jordan Breaks, Josh Samuels, and Callum Newman. I think that this one is actually going to be super fun. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a super fast sprint, obviously, like most junior heavyweight cruiserweight matches are. But there's some really awesome people in this match. Obviously, Robbie X comes to mind. Callum Newman, the newest
hmm
apprentice of the United Empire.
Yeah.
Um,
Going into the dojo in September. I'm so excited for him. Like,
all right.
if this is going to be your first time seeing like Callum Newman like in a match, you're in for a treat. He's so talented, and he's really young as well. He's only like 22.
Definitely. This is going to be fun. I don't expect this to be a super long match, but I think it's going to be, a fun sprint, and
hmm
so that's going to be exciting. Moving on, we have Luke Jacobs versus Tomohiro Ishii. Anything that Ishii is a part of, I'm excited for.
hmm
And I think that the Luke Jacobs match is going to be really great. Ishii also he's always been a pretty big match performer in the UK, so I think that
Yeah.
he's going to like show out. This is a great opportunity for Luke Jacobs.
Absolutely. Luke Jacobs, he shows out in matches like this and he hits hard. So him being in the ring with Ishii it's just gonna be a lot of fun to watch. Expect some like big time moves and a lot of like power in this match. It's gonna be great.
Definitely. So I'm jumping around here because I'm trying to save the bigger ones for last.
hmm
Ricky Knight Jr. versus Zack Sabre Jr. Um, this is going to be exciting. I think this is going to be
hmm
exciting. I saw Ricky at the Live in London 71 show
hmm
and the main event, and obviously Zack Sabre Jr. has honestly not had a bad match all year at
No.
all. Like, I think this one is going to be really great. I don't think the title's on the line
No,
for
I
this
don't
one,
think it is.
so no time limit. I'm assuming, even though I don't expect this to go like over 15 minutes, but anything that Zack Sabre Jr. is a part of is great, and I think that I'm also hoping he gets announced for the All In card too. Um,
Hopefully.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. I know it's really slim chances at
hmm
this point, but hey. But
And keep it open.
yeah, any thoughts on this one?
I think it's going to be an exciting match. Again, RKJ is another like really young talent that's like a really great prospect in the UK. Like he's another one that's like a really hard hitter. So it'll be interesting to see his style clash with Zack Sabre Jr.'s and what they come up with. I'm excited. Again, I'm excited for it. It's going to be a fun time.
Definitely. And moving on, this is one of my perfect personal favorites on the card. Probably one of the matches I'm most excited for. JJ Gale versus Kosei Fujita.
I'm so excited to see Kosei Fujita live. I like having watched like I watch New Japan like all the time anyways, but having like watched like his undercard tags like this past year and like the way he's developed like in TMDK and like the way he's been learning from Zack Sabre Jr. and the other guys, this is going to be awesome. He's been shoving out all year and he's 100% one to watch like when it comes to the future of New Japan because I think he's going to surpass like a lot of like the current prospects eventually. He's just fantastic in the ring.
I have a theory. Kosei Fujita is who they think Ren Narita is.
He is. Yes, that is the perfect way to put it. That is exactly he's definitely what they hoped Ren Narita would be.
And obviously Ren's career is still very young. Obviously not writing him off, but like Kosei Fujita is like he's ready now. I think that's also why he just streamlined and like went straight through the young lion process. Like just really a very quick progression. He has it. Like anytime you see him in the ring with more experienced talent, he doesn't look out of place. He shined this weekend in All-Star Junior Festival and as well as the Multiverse United show. He was a very clear highlight, and obviously he's on a world tour now. The UK is just one stop on there. He's already been in America. He's going to be hitting Australia as well. Super exciting world tour for the Ichiban Sweet Boy. But JJ Gale is no slouch either. I think that he's one of the best young prospects currently in the UK. These are two guys literally right at the beginning of their career. And if you all listen to my interview with RevPro founder Andy Quilden, he basically was talking about how this match is one of his personal favorites on the card. And he also said how I think we're going to look back at this match years from now as the start of something special for both these talent. And this is going to be like a real marker in their career. And so it's just exciting to be a part of it because these are two of the best young guys in the world right now. So
I think JJ Gale is definitely going to turn a lot of heads this weekend and get some attention from especially like international fans, like because there's going to be a lot of people watching this show that maybe aren't as familiar with RevPro and the guys that wrestle there. So I'm excited for like especially like people like JJ Gale getting that attention.
Yes, absolutely. Super exciting. Next, another one of my favorite and most anticipated matches on this card: Dan Maloney versus Leon Slater.
This is, oh my god, this match is so exciting for so many reasons.
So excited. So basically, if you don't know the full story, so earlier this year, starting with Best of the Super Juniors, right before Best of the Super Juniors, obviously this was between New Japan Cup and Best of the Super Juniors. Dan Maloney is supposed to face Will Ospreay. Was that the Revolution Rumble show?
That was that show, yes.
So at the Revolution Rumble show, Dan Maloney was originally supposed to face Will Ospreay, but obviously Will Ospreay got injured versus Mark Davis in the New Japan Cup, had to withdraw, as well as withdraw from all of his indie bookings at the time as well. But because the match was so consequential, because this was supposed to be the match to basically decide if Dan Maloney gets in the United Empire or not, Will Ospreay is still there, but instead in his place, Francisco Akira wrestles. Dan Maloney and him had one hell of a match. And then at the end of the match, Dan Maloney wins. Will Ospreay gives Dan Maloney this United Empire armband like 2.5 weeks later, or probably shorter than that. Dan Maloney makes his New Japan debut in the Best of the Super Juniors tournament as a member of the United Empire. He has a pretty decent showing, but I would say the highlight was he has this absolute insane, crazy fist fight with Clark Connors. It was like literally two bulls
That was the turning point in the tournament for him, because like you could see that he was like settling into like this new environment, getting used to like wrestling in Japan and that, and it can't be easy your first tour of Japan being a tournament like the Best of the Super Juniors tournament.
Absolutely.
Especially this year when it was just such a
So
fantastic
good.
tournament overall. So I think he had a great showing overall anyways, but that match with Clark Connors was definitely like the, oh shit, like this guy is one to watch.
Absolutely. And like I had seen Danny Maloney wrestle before, but like I think that he just fits with that New Japan style so well.
Yeah.
But like I said, they were fist fight with Clark Connors. We're convinced these guys hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then was that the Best of the Super Junior final?
Believe so.
Yeah, so there was how did it happen? Was that when Akira and they won the tag?
There was a match. I think TJP and Akira had just won the tag titles back from Kushida and Kevin Knight.
Yes. And so then after the match, Dan Maloney and Clark Connors attack Catch.
Yes, because Clark Connors was coming down the ramp and then Dan Maloney was in the ring and he was like stood a little bit behind them. Then he blindsided TJP from behind.
Exactly. And so then it's announced that was also the day that everybody starts, and then Mama joined Bullet Club, the War Dog.
Yes, everyone was joining Bullet Clubs, and I said it on the day that this was about to be one of the best renditions of Bullet Club we've seen, and I hate to break it to you guys, but I was right.
Absolutely. So Dan Maloney turns on the United Empire, becomes a member of the Bullet Club. David Finlay's Bullet Club becomes a Bullet Club War Dog. Meanwhile, in Rev Pro land, Will Ospreay, once he gets healthy, he gets his revenge by he shows up at Rev Pro basically and attacks, honestly demolishes Leon Slater.
Yes.
Just for being friends with Dan Maloney to send him, quote unquote, a message. Then most recently at the Rev Pro Epic Encounter show, right after Will Ospreay faces Leon Slater in one hell of a match. Make sure you go back and watch it if you haven't. Dan Maloney comes out, and then I think Will Ospreay said, as long as y'all are friends, he'll always be a weakness, and I'm always going to exploit that weakness for you. So Dan Maloney decides to cut out the weakness and beat the shit.
And he attacks Leon Slater.
Yeah, beat the shit out of Leon Slater. So
because anyone that doesn't know Dan Maloney and Leon Slater's history, they were both part of the 0121. They wrestled in Progress and Rev Pro together, like all just across like all the UK indies. Like they were part of like the same faction. Then obviously Dan Maloney left because he was like all of the United Empire stuff and then Bullet Club stuff in Japan. So there is a lot of history between Maloney and Slater, and Leon Slater has just been garnering a lot of attention himself. Like over the past couple of months, he's been wrestling over in the States, like he's wrestled all over Europe, like over the UK. Like he's been having incredible marquee matches with people, and he's 18 years old. And like his style of wrestling, like this high flying style of wrestling is like really common these days. It's like there's a lot of guys that do that sort of stuff, and everyone's always just like, oh, they're the next Will Ospreay. But Leon Slater is one of one. Like he is carving out his own style within a style. Like if you've not seen any of his matches, start with the Will Ospreay one from Epic Encounter and work backwards, because he had an incredible match with Zack Sabre Jr. as well. That was at the it wasn't, I don't think it was, did he have a match with Zack Sabre Jr.? No, I think I might be confusing things actually.
I think he did, but I can check.
No, we're going to have to check this because I may have just confused things. Maybe I'm just wishing for a match with Zack Sabre Jr.
If it doesn't exist, it should.
It should exist. But either way, Leon Slater's just had an incredible year.
Yes, they have wrestled.
They have wrestled
last year at Rev Pro Uprising.
Rev Pro Uprising, yes, that is okay. Yes, I wasn't confused. Because I've been to just so many shows in like the past 12 months. I lose track sometimes. Yes.
Like you saw,
But
like the
yeah.
whole time we're trying to like put this timeline together. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, when did this happen? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a
But
lot of
yeah,
wrestling.
no.
Guys.
Leon Sager's just too long didn't listen. Check out Leon Sager. He's
Yeah,
incredible.
this one is going to be this is one of my favorite matches on the card. Next, there's a great women's match, undisputed British Women's Championship, Alex Windsor versus Mickie James versus Hyan. I've been really impressed with Alex Windsor. Really impressed, especially like an epic encounter. Her character work is really great. She
Yeah.
hits hard. She's really charismatic. Like I like her.
And she has not missed a beat since she came back from injury either. Like, because she was out for a while. She was out for like 6-7 months, I think. So her coming back and immediately just like wrestling back on that same level is really impressive. I'm really happy for her.
Definitely, and obviously they're going up against an absolute legend, and Mickie James. I mean, as a fan, like for me personally, Mickie James was probably one of the first women's wrestlers that I ever loved when I started watching wrestling back in 2006, and like watching her journey and just seeing. If I'm not mistaken, this might be her first match back since she had to relinquish that Impact Women's Championship due to since that rib injury, and for it to be in the UK on a weekend like this is like
very exciting.
Insane. And it's going to be my first time seeing her live.
Same.
After being a fan for almost 17 years, like I'm super excited. And then there's Hyan. She never disappoints.
No, she shows out in every match that I've seen her wrestle in.
I want to see her sign somewhere. Athena has also spoke of her very highly. Like I think they've had like a very short match. She's also said that she wants to wrestle Hyan again. So this is a very, very, very strong match on the card that I think has a lot of great potential. Also, there's going to be a women's battle royal. All of the participants have not been announced yet. I think only like 3 or 4 names, but I think it's probably going to be maybe like 15 people tops. And so yeah, that's going to be really cool.
Yes.
Trying to go. I'm going to save my 2 favorites for last. I'm so sorry. We have undisputed British Heavyweight Championship Michael Oku versus Trent Seven. Okay. I'm not really happy about this match. I'm happy about the Michael Oku part. Obviously, we love Michael Oku over here. I would have rathered anybody probably but Trent Seven, but you know what? This is what we have, so we do have to go with it. I'm excited for Michael Oku to finally get his belt back because obviously an epic encounter after Michael Oku pins Great O'Khan ending his undefeated streak in the UK. He has his belt for like all of 5 seconds before Trent Seven comes in, ambushes him, steals the belt, runs away. And
almost runs straight into a child. I was like 6 feet away from like when he ran out the door. A kid was coming back in and he was just crashed straight into him. And I was like, oh my God, that would have been a disaster.
Catastrophic.
Yeah, from a booking standpoint, I understand why they've done this sort of match for this weekend because Trent Seven is someone that's really well recognized by like international fans and like just British wrestling fans. Either way, he is still an attraction in the UK. So from a booking standpoint, totally get it. Not what I would have personally had Michael Oku doing this weekend, but it is what it is. I'm sure they'll put together a match that's enjoyable in the building.
Yes, absolutely. And so at the end of the day, if nothing less, I think we'll just seeing Michael Oku like get the win, get his belt back. You know, I'm a sucker for a good pop. I don't know. Send the people home happy. My personal I can't even say my most favorite match on the card, but it's one of my favorite matches on the card because there's just so many great matches on this card. Like I really love this card. El Phantasmo and Katsuyori Shibata versus Gabe Kidd and David Finlay. I can't stop smiling. Like,
oh my goodness, what an inspired bit of booking.
I'm like, when people book stuff like that, I'm like, do they listen in on our conversations? I'm starting to get a little freaked out.
This like, if you go to my Twitter, this is like 100% something that I would fantasy book.
100%.
Because like, not only is it like Bullet Club War Dogs, who I'm like really high on, it's El Phantasmo, who I like was like I was campaigning for him to be on the Forbidden Door card so hard because I just wanted to see him live so badly. I'd never gotten the chance to. So when he was announced for Forbidden Door, that was crazy enough. And then they announced him for the Rev Pro show, and I was like, oh my god. And then they teamed him with Shibata. Like, what?
And like we
Shibata is wrestling in the UK.
Shibata is wrestling. Period. Like that's just the
period.
To say that, like, you know, Shibata is wrestled. To say that I would have been able to see Shibata wrestle twice this year, it's insane. In 2 different continents.
On 2 different continents.
2 different continents.
It's just an honor to ever see him in the ring.
As a champion, like he's now like, you know, the Ring of Honor pure champion. El Phantasmo was doing some of the best work of his career right now.
Yeah.
Like, he absolutely, like, obviously he didn't win, but I think he had some of the most memorable block performances in the G1. Hands down. Like, so many of those matches have great replay value that I'm going to go back and like watch. Like, he's been excellent this year. Excellent. Like, just at just, you know, like on the mic, connecting with fans. Like, his probably one of the most successful babyface turns I've ever seen. Like, just
he's so over everywhere he goes. Like, whether it's Canada, Japan, America, we're gonna see it in the UK as well. Like in like 5 days. So
5 days, can you believe it?
5 days. I know, it's crazy how quickly it's come around.
Well, we've been talking about this since before All In was announced. And so it's just like, and then like, and when you think about just like going through the whole, so when are they going to announce the London show? Because before then we think it's going to be Craven Cottage, and then, oh my gosh, it's Wembley. And then it's like, oh God, I got to sign up for this pre-sale. And then you're registered for like 3 different pre-sale codes. And then there's the actual day of the pre-sale, and the most anxiety I've ever experienced.
That was the most stressful because I just couldn't sleep before the All In pre-sale. Like, my sleep schedule was like really messed up anyways. And it got to like 4 a.m. and the pre-sale was in like at like 8 a.m. and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep tweeting, just keep talking about it.
I too couldn't sleep, and so I'm just gonna stay up in solidarity with you. And like, we're on like this 5-hour time difference, and it was just like absolutely insane. Like, it's absolutely insane. Like, when you think about the things that you go through for professional wrestling, it's really fucking hilarious.
Because anyone that doesn't know, we're sitting together at All In. Like, I bought both of our tickets together, so having that pressure of, I'm not just buying for me, I'm buying for you and my brother. So I'm like, I got like 3 floor seats. I added the Sunday welcome party tickets. I was like, all right, check out, done, paid for. Stress over.
And meanwhile,
most stressful 10 minutes of my life. I have like waiting for that payment to go through.
I have like 3 backup seats in my cart just in case like it fails. And it's like, bro, that was nerve-wracking, but it is worth it. Our seats are great. So like, when we do this next week and you find out that John Moxley like bled on us or something, don't be surprised, because like, especially for Stadium Stampede, we're literally on the edge of the row where they all come out like through the crowd. So it's actually going to be kind of insane. And then the Rev Pro show gets announced like right after. It's just like, you got to be kidding me. It's just, but now it's here, so that's fun.
Now it's here. This tag match though, like, I think I'm so excited for All In just on its own. But like, this tag match is probably the thing that I'm most anticipating right now, because like, these are 4 of my favorite wrestlers,
literally,
like, at the moment, and they put them all in one match, and I was like, wow, it is almost like I booked this.
I will say though, I am a little worried about this match, and the reason why is because I'm worried for David Finlay. Because, you know, hey, we all heard the discourse after the G1 of just, we went from abolish the David Finlay Bullet Club to keep the War Dogs and make Gabe.
Get rid of.
Listen, Gabe Kidd is just, he's outshone almost every single person he's been in the ring with this year, whether being alongside them or against them. You know, in a match like this, I don't see him not stealing the show. Like, finally being face to face with Shibata, I just
Mm-hmm.
don't see him not. What is that? I
Like
think somebody's like
that
cutting.
is the real story of this tag
Yeah,
match, isn't it? It's like Gabe Kidd's finally getting in the ring with Shibata after God knows how long of
absolutely.
like campaigning for this match. So you've got to think like we'll be getting the singles of this off the back of this tag match. Whether it's like here, whether Ring of Honor book it, you never know what's gonna happen. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
that's the big
so
story.
excited.
Yeah, the Gabe Kidd versus Shibata, that is the major story here. Like at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, we've seen El Phantasmo versus David Finlay. Does that story still have some legs to it? Like who knows? But like that Gabe Kidd Shibata matchup, that's the first time thing that's happening here. And like I said,
Yeah.
Gabe Kidd has not missed. Like he
No.
has stolen the show every single time. And so yeah, I'm a little worried for David Finlay. I think the match is going to be
Mm.
amazing, but I do think the chatter might increase.
The challenge getting is gonna get louder. I think I'm just Gabe Kidd really has had an incredible year this year. Like I've been a fan forever. Like you can't not be like tapped into Brit Wrestling and not know who Gabe Kidd is. But like after his G1 performance, everyone else just kind of like if they weren't already like talking about him, they were just like, oh shit, who is this random white guy from the UK? Like tearing people apart in the G1s. So I'm really happy for him. Like he deserved like the momentum that he's building, and like it's just going to be a great match. I'm very excited. If you couldn't tell, like I've just been so excited for this match.
Yeah, I think that that can be said about just about most of the War Dogs. Same thing with
Yeah,
Dan Maloney of just
absolutely.
especially the Super Juniors. Same thing with Clark Connors. Like
Mm-hmm.
Clark Connors has been like on fire. Alex Coughlin, he hasn't 100% found his way yet, but I think he's better off than he was a couple months ago. Like
Yeah.
before joining Bullet Club, I'll definitely say that. And so I do think that the War Dogs have, they're just really popular. I don't know. They're only gonna get more popular. I said this on Twitter, but I do think that what's really hurting them is more so of a perception issue rather than an actual like.
Mm-hmm.
I think like not being on Forbidden Door in the long run kind of hurt them from an exposure
Yeah.
standpoint, just because like a lot of people are like shitting on the David Finlay Bullet Club because they haven't seen it. Like we
Yeah.
can't assume that everybody watches New Japan. We can't assume that everybody watches even like the New Japan shows. Like some people really
Yeah.
have gravitated towards, like Strong. So they'll watch stuff that's happening in the US, but so it's pretty nuanced. I'm excited for them to get some shine. I think it's
Me
gonna be
too.
great. And lastly, obviously these two have wrestled a million times, but every
Mm-hmm.
single time has been absolutely excellent. And of course, I'm talking about Will Ospreay and Shingo Takagi. I am excited about this match.
Me too.
Very excited about this match. Shingo Takagi is one of my favorite wrestlers like ever. Will
It's just
Ospreay
incredible.
is one of the best, if not the best wrestler in the world today. These two have the best chemistry ever, and I truly believe that Shingo is Will Ospreay's greatest opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Only competition could possibly be Kenny Omega, maybe like, but they haven't even had as many matches as
Yeah.
Ospreay and Takagi have had. Like these two, and honestly, I'm just happy that people. I'm just happy to see Shingo main event a show and people know that like he is main event caliber because he is like he
Yeah.
is absolutely a main event caliber wrestler. And I honestly hope that this match is the start of him getting more of these big time bookings. Like AEW, we need Shingo on AEW like yesterday.
Oh
Like
my gosh, we've been saying it for months.
I have a
We
list. I have a list of
we
things.
just have a list. Get Shingo like just for like 3 weeks in the US and
Literally
have him just wrestle everyone, please.
Omega, Hangman, Kingston, who else?
Roosh.
Mox, Roosh. Absolutely. And also, just because of based off of what happened last year with him and El Phantasmo, I want Shingo versus Orange Cassidy. I feel like they
Yes,
could have like such an entertaining bout. Um,
absolutely.
I have a full list of people that I want Shingo Takagi to face. But I think I'm excited to see how they make this match different
Yeah.
than their others. but just knowing them, I know that they will, and I know that they can. And plus, it's a whole different environment, and so
yeah,
that's going to be really cool. I'm excited.
I'm
Um,
so excited.
I'm
It's
going.
like this was the first match they announced for the card, and understandably so, because like
It set the tone.
they've knocked it out of the park with this whole card. Honestly, like Andy smashed it. I genuinely don't know, like other than maybe the Michael Oku match, I don't know what you could change about this card to make it better.
Absolutely, I agree, and I think like they. I give Andy credit. He did a really good job of balancing out signed talent with like
Yes,
getting actual up and comers together. Like these are the perfect pairings. Like
absolutely.
Jacobs versus Ishii. You have JJ Gale versus Kosei Fujita, and it's also for people like I feel like it's mutually beneficial, especially for some of the younger talent as well. Like it's this is a really good card.
Yeah,
And this is why like when people say stuff like indie wrestling is dead, I want to punch y'all in the face.
honestly, like RevPro, they put on good shows all the time, anyways. But they like when it like I guess like you could say like when their backs against the wall, when they have to like deliver on a card like this on like such a monumental weekend, they've kept up with AEW. I really think they have. Like, and in
100%.
some places they've kind of
Did better.
smashed it out the park. So.
Yeah. And yeah, I love this card. One thing that I'm going to be doing to prepare, hopefully that I have the time, but I think I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch the Osprey Shingo matches. Especially obviously that Best of the Super Junior final. And then also that when was that? They did their Wrestling Dontaku match was also really good. Actually all of their matches together have been pretty good. So I'm really excited to watch it. Excited to be there. Can't believe like we're actually there. So that's gonna be fun. So that's Rev Pro, everybody. Make sure that you check out the Rev Pro 11th anniversary show. That will be on Saturday. What time does that start?
I believe the bell time, like the pre-show match starts at 5, I believe, and then bell time's 5:30 potentially. I think.
Yes. So for people who are out here in the US, this show will be streamed live on Rev Pro on demand. It is about I think what $8 a month. Very
Yeah,
good
something like that.
deal for what you're going to get, and also you'll get all of their back content as well. Rev Pro is really awesome, and like they have a lot of great shows. And if you want to go ahead and get to know some of these talents, such as like the Leon Slater Will Ospreay match from Epic Encounter that we talked about, like you can go ahead and subscribe, and you can find that. Yeah, and so I believe that if it starts at 5:30 out in London, that means that here on the East Coast, it will start about 1:30 Eastern. So that'll be on Saturday. So that's the Rev Pro 11th anniversary show at the historic Copper Box Arena. Super exciting. And now on to the big guys. Wembley Stadium.
80,000 people.
8
80,000 plus.
80,000 plus people. Absolutely insane. I will say, I do think like there was no way to get this card perfect because I feel like, especially with AEW now, it's just like fans are so split. Like I feel like everybody wants different things.
Yeah.
Like, and at this point, I used to be pretty positive that I knew what the majority wanted. But now I realize I can't speak for y'all. I actually really don't know.
I don't think the majority even know what they want half the time.
I don't. But for me, personally, I feel like I'm having a blast. I don't know. I like this card.
Yeah.
The only thing that I possibly would change, and honestly not even change, I do want another women's match on the card. I think that's just so it. But honestly, I'm pretty fine with it. So let's start with 0 Hour. We have the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship will be on the line. Aussie Open versus MJF and Adam Cole. Aussie. This
so
is unprecedented. Like I think like it's unprecedented of just I don't think that there's ever been a more must see 0 hour / pre-show / buy-in than this. Like,
Yeah.
give this match away for free is fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like,
I think that it sets the tone. Like,
yeah,
that's laying down the gauntlet there.
it really is. Like, it's just going to be a fantastic weekend for tag team wrestling, isn't it? Like,
Absolutely.
Aussie Open, for people that don't know, they're from Australia, obviously,
Mhm.
but they made their names in the UK. That's where they became a tag team. That's like where they really like sunk their teeth into like the wrestling scene, like as a tag team. And then obviously they went to New Japan. They had all their success there, and then they got signed to AEW this year. So deserved. And to see them have like a match of this caliber in front of a UK audience, it's going to be a special moment, like for all the Brit Rest fans that like have been watching them like grow as a tag team and see where they are now. And against talents like MJF and Adam Cole, that's nuts. Like that is genuinely, truly nuts.
I obviously earlier this year, I went ahead and called it. Aussie Open as Tag Team of the Year. They were on
Mm-hmm.
fire, just absolute fire coming out of Sakura Genesis. You know, they ended up getting the IWGP tag belts as well as the
Mm-hmm.
New Japan Strong Openweight tag belts back. They were double champed up, and then Mark Davis gets injured, and like,
Yeah.
I become afraid because I'm like, what if all their momentum is gone? Like, we've all seen how like one injury can ruin a run and stuff, but like to see
Mm-hmm.
that one they signed during injury to AEW, and a lot of times, like, people can get lost in the shuffle, but not them. They've immediately like been cast as a priority, both in AEW
Yeah.
as well as Ring of Honor. Have they been one of the high parts of Ring of Honor, honestly. And to see them like get like prime placement like this, and like even though it's a 0 hour, like this is just as important as like
Mm-hmm.
the part, and it's been presented that way too. It was just seeing their journey. I remember like the first time I had ever even saw you tweet was last year, Royal Quest, and you were like, FTR versus Aussie Open is match of the year. I think I replied, I was like, really? Like, yeah, they hadn't uploaded it yet, and like
Mm-hmm.
once it got uploaded, I was like, whoa, that was like my first time like really,
Yeah.
really, really taking a chance on Aussie Open, and like you see where they are now. Like they go from where was that? That wasn't at Copper Box, right? Wasn't it? It was
No,
at
that was Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace to Wembley Stadium
Yeah.
in less than a year's time. Absolutely insane. Of just like I feel like everybody ends up where they're supposed to be. So just super proud to be an Aussie Open fan.
Mm-hmm.
And like MJF and Adam Cole, this may be the last time we get to see them tag together before everything
Potentially.
goes to hell. Because obviously something juicy is going to happen here, but I do think that they played the story beautifully.
Yeah.
Of just like who's going to turn. Adam Cole has played his role so well. Obviously, I've been an open criticizer of the MJF title reign, but I do
We
think that
both have, yeah.
absolutely, I do think that he's hit his stride with this Adam
Yes.
Cole stuff. Like this has been the best stuff of his entire reign. Like this easily. Like this is
Yeah.
where I can start saying like, okay, this is where people talk about the generational talent. This has been great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, obviously this match is going to be awesome, and like to be able to be, they're probably going to be the first match out, unless like they put like a battle royal in front of this.
Yeah.
Probably the first match out in front of that Wembley crowd. It's going to be insane.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy to think about. Like, just any of these matches happening in Wembley is just Wembley Stadium happening for AEW is like unfathomable.
And
Like,
being
even
inside of
last year, yeah, honestly, yeah. Like, even last year, if you told me, like, in a year's time, you're going to go watch AEW at Wembley Stadium, I would have laughed in your face. I was just like, oh, would you mean, like, Wembley Arena? Like, I can see that happening, but not Wembley fucking Stadium.
absolutely.
And then it was announced, and the fact that they've sold over 80,000 tickets, and, man, it's crazy. Really happy for AEW, really happy for all the talent, and I'm really happy for my boys, man. Aussie Open being in this position. They're going to be in the ring with AEW's world champion and Adam Cole, who's like one of the biggest names in the business, in front of 80,000 people in London. It's going to be great. I think the match is going to be awesome.
Hey, crowns up, boys. That's all I got to say.
Crowns up.
It's a great time. We have, which one should I do next? I'm trying to figure out, knocking some of the lower ones. We have the Real World Championship on the line. Punk versus Joe. That's happening.
It sure is.
It sure is happening. Listen, I do understand the novelty factor of a Punk versus
Yes.
Joe match reaching this level and stage is absolutely surreal, especially for long-time Ring of Honor fans. And so that novelty in and of itself, I think, is going to hopefully carry this match. Now, I will say the build has been questionable. That golden vampire thing I saw on Collision, I did not like it. I actually didn't get to watch it live. Like, I saw the videos and I said, "Oh my god, what is happening?"
It was a choice.
Yeah. That was the worst GTS I've ever seen, and I think he needs to work on that before.
Yeah.
And also, I will say, and I just started thinking about this last week. Not sure about how I feel about having "quote unquote" 2 world titles on the card. Like the real.
I'm not really that much of a fan.
The Real World Championship thing, it's not. It doesn't click for me. Yeah, it feels really niche. And I feel like this card is supposed to be very spirit of AEW. It feels very much very niche. I will say this match, I'm not saying that like the card had to be like fully Dynamite, but I will say this one does feel different than all the others.
It's the most all-out feeling all-in match.
Yes. Exactly.
It's not the fact that either of these guys are on the card, because I feel like if you put either of these guys against anyone else, I would have been like, yeah, that's an all-in match. Yeah. But you look at like Samoa Joe versus CM Punk, I'm just like, wow, that should happen in Chicago. I don't know why. I just associate it with All Out for some reason.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's going to be a good time because the crowd is going to be so into it. CM Punk hasn't wrestled in the UK in over 10 years at this point, or like coming up to 10 years or something like that. I can't remember the last time Samoa Joe was over here either. So, like, for that aspect, it's just going to be one of those moments of, holy shit, both of these guys are in the ring together in front of us. What the hell is going on? Literally. But I don't think it's going to be match of the night. I think I'll enjoy it, but it's not going to hit the same as some of the others.
Exactly. But moving to one that I think is going to absolutely hit, that coffin match, Darby Allin and Sting versus Swerve Strickland and AR Fox. I want to first say
AR Fox.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. This man went from the trainer of so many of the wrestlers that we see today in multiple companies. Never really got a shot. He had been working his way up on Dark, but like he gets one shot on Dynamite and knocks it out of the park. And I will say, like, that is what I love about AEW. I feel like it's always felt like the land where dreams come true. Like where, you know, talent that you know would have never gotten signed in WWE will get one opportunity, and they'll take that one opportunity and they will show out so bad to where you feel like, oh my gosh, we can't live without them. Eddie Kingston is another one of those people. Obviously, we'll get to him later, but really, really, really happy for AR Fox. Everything that they put in front of him, he's delivered. And honestly, I thought that he was just a great wrestler. I'm not saying he couldn't like talk, but I never heard him talk. And then he gets paired with Swerve, and it's like, oh my God, like this charisma is just like crazy. These two are perfect together. Obviously, Darby has been just such a constant for AEW, but Sting in the UK,
Joker Sting as well.
Joker Sting, like,
oh my God, I'm so happy they've gone this route, because anyone that knows TNA in the UK was like beloved over here. Like it was like one of the most popular things when TNA was hot. And Joker Sting did not hit for US audiences, but internationally and in the UK specifically, Joker Sting was one of the best things on TV. Like the UK audience just fell in love with the character, and it's so nostalgic for so many of us. And the fact that they're showing that they're going that route, and that's how he's going to be portrayed in Wembley Stadium. I'm so excited.
I think also just like Sting is the marker I think that all wrestlers should shoot for of being continuing to stay relevant. reinvent yourself.
Yep.
And it's Sting. Like, obviously the ride is coming to an end soon, but I think for us specifically, like, we saw Sting at Forbidden Door and at All In now. Like,
yeah.
What else can you ask for at that point? Like,
honestly,
it's just such history. And I think like the cool thing about this card is like you have people who are young, and then you have people who have been in here for absolute years. Like Kyle Fletcher's what, 24? That's insane. Like it's just absolutely, you have just such a wide range of different eras of wrestling, different styles of wrestling. Just super cool. So yeah, this is gonna be exciting. And a coffin match. Putting 2 people in a coffin. I'm interested to see how that, or is it gonna be like a double wide coffin? I'm very interested.
I think they're just gonna have 2 coffins, and you have to get both people in at the same time. Like, I think that's how they'll do it. But knowing there's also Stadium Stampede on this card, I'm interested where they actually set the coffins up.
I'm interested too. I wonder if they're gonna put it under the ring or if they're gonna like wheel it out. Just because obviously if it's a stadium, that ramp is going to be long as shit.
It might be like the setup they had for Revolution where it's off the side of the stage again.
Gotcha. But even so, like it just depends because that ramp is just going to be so long compared to like the stage of just like getting back up there, like stylistically and like for timing purposes of the match. Like, it's just interesting. Like, I just can't wait. I will say, like, how everybody was excited to see like the WrestleMania stage. I'm so excited what this All In stage is going to look like. Because
I wonder if they've started building it yet. I'm not sure if there's any fixtures for the Premier League in Wembley Stadium.
Think about they'll probably start maybe Wednesday.
That makes sense. I suppose they've got like, because they've got tape shows, they've got to get like all the equipment. I have no idea how any of this works. I don't work backstage or anything.
Yeah, probably maybe even Thursday, because like the crew, everybody's taping Dynamite and Collision on Wednesday, and so I'm assuming maybe building construction starts on Thursday.
Potentially, yeah. Exciting times.
I'm so excited to see the stage. I will say, like, AEW really hasn't missed as far as like new stages ever since like that big presentation shift that they did, because I will say the best thing about Collision is that stage. That Collision presentation is beautiful. Like, I love everything about it. Like, I love it. And so I already know, like, we've just never seen this before. Like, I will say, I think that's also one of the coolest things about AEW too, is just like, it's really cool to like grow with the company. So it's just like being there for, it's almost like a baby, like just all these milestone moments, like first stadium show. Like, we don't know what an AEW stadium show looks like. Just like, there was one time we didn't know what an AEW TV show looked like, or we didn't know what an AEW pay-per-view looked like, or we didn't know what an AEW roster looked like. And so just figuring it all out in real time. The stage is going to be great. But since you mentioned it, moving on to Stadium Stampede, obviously this is one of my favorite matches on the card. For numerous reasons. I think this match has so many of my favorite people in it. Like, it's actually insane. I think it's exciting. I'm so excited because they're almost positively going to come right directly to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Because of where we're sat, like, for anyone that doesn't know, we're like 16 rows back from the ring.
Yep.
Which is, like, in the grand scheme of things in Wembley Stadium, is really fucking close to the ring.
Really close. And when you think of, like, we're only a few rows behind, like, the people in the 1,000-something buck seat.
Yeah.
And so we did not pay £1,000 for our seats at all.
No, we did not.
We really, listen, that pre-sale was anxiety inducing, but it was 100% worth it. But yeah, Stadium Stampede, we have obviously Best Friends, we have the Lucha Bros, and we have Eddie Kingston versus the Blackpool Combat Club, and currently some partners of their choosing. I think this is going to be excellent. Listen, a lot of people feel like Mox should be in a singles match. That's not for me to decide. I think that I have a hard time believing that John Moxley is doing something that he doesn't want to do. And I think that he's really, really enjoyed these multi-pans this year. Like the Blackpool Combat Club, they really love each other, guys. I don't know what else to tell y'all. Like they really do like hanging out. They really do like partnering together. And they've been really great. Like I think it's almost a shame that they haven't gone for the trios belts in AEW because this year, because they have been trios wrestling between AEW and New Japan. Like they've done some of the best 6-man matches this year they've been involved in, and that's from some variation of them was involved in. So that's either when you think about the Resurgence match, New Japan Resurgence, Dominion, Anarchy in the Arena, Blood and Guts. They've been absolutely like killing it. And not to mention, like they're always a solid part of Dynamite. And so I think, like, you know, a lot of people are speculating Santana and Ortiz are going to be the partners.
Yeah.
Some of the partners, possibly even Daniel Garcia. He seemed to be having a change of heart lately. I think there's a lot of options here, but I genuinely don't think that you can go wrong with this group of people.
Nah, me neither.
And also a stadium stampede with fans. Are you shitting me?
I know.
Like,
it's going to be crazy. I have
no idea what it's going to look like.
You know, my favorite thing about this match is the fact that Eddie Kingston's going to be in front of 80,000 people.
Yeah, man.
I just, I fucking love Eddie Kingston.
His G1
experience really
made me so emotional, literally every single day. I think this is because I know what wrestling means to me, and I think like to see somebody else love it that passionately, even probably more passionately than like I do, is just like it's a really touching thing. Like I feel like people just really sometimes like they don't understand the power that wrestling has. Like it can heal, it can save lives, it can change people for the better. It can change some people for the worse, of course, but it has just as many like positive qualities too. And like when you see the impact that wrestling has had on people's lives, and like the impact that different things, and especially like Japanese wrestling and just like alternative wrestling just in general out of the mainstream, able to have that just that major impact on somebody, especially somebody like, because Eddie Kingston just is honestly like the rest of us. Like he doesn't look like a super athlete. Like, you know, he's just now getting his big break. You know, like he's
the realest wrestler ever.
Literally.
He's like he's flawed. Like he doesn't try to hide his flaws. Like he doesn't try to change who he is. He just goes out there and does Eddie Kingston. And it's like the most relatable thing on TV, which is kind of crazy to say as like a 22-year-old girl from fucking England, and it's like this like 40-year-old man from America like on TV every week. But he's just so real in how he presents himself. Like I don't understand how you can't be an Eddie Kingston fan. Like
he makes
like his G1 journey and like just everything he does, he just makes you feel.
Yeah, he literally makes you feel all the things. Like I watched him meeting Kawada and it made me cry because like Eddie Kingston for me, he was my entrance into like vintage Japanese wrestling. And I remember being so depressed at the time. And like, I would just go and like watch all his YouTube recommendations. And like, that's how I connected like deeper into wrestling. And so like, he's just been such a personal inspiration for me. Like I would not be doing this podcast. I wouldn't be doing like just about anything if it wasn't being introduced to like a lot of different wrestling styles through him. And just seeing his journey has just been like, it's just been so sweet. Like, he's awesome. That pop is going to be insane. Absolutely insane. That pops for just about everybody in this match. Is insane. And that I think that's what's really cool. Best friends are obviously AEW Day Ones and Orange Cassidy included. Lucha Bros, same. Blackpool Combat Club. Even though technically Claudio hasn't been here forever, it feels like he's been here forever.
And he's just so fantastic.
And I think also just like, not even just like in ring, but it's almost like an attitude thing too of just like, it feels like Adam Cole is one of those people too. It feels like they've been at AEW forever. And I have to remind myself of just like, oh, especially like Claudio, he just got here.
He's been there for just over a year now.
Yeah, but he's just melded in so easily. And so Stadium Stampede is going to be absolutely insane. This has been a great year for multi-man matches.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing year for multi-man matches. And speaking of multi-man matches, my favorite multi-man match on the card. We have the Golden Elite versus Takeshita and Bullet Club Gold. Wow. I just would like
I don't care what anyone says. Yes, a Kenny Omega singles match on this card would have been fantastic, would have been incredible. Kenny Omega is one of the best big match wrestlers ever. Period. How can you look at this 6-man and not want to see it?
I just giggling thinking about it.
It's Kenny Omega teaming with Hangman Adam Page and Kota Ibushi, arguably two of his best tag team partners ever. And you have them as a trios, and they're probably going to come out to Wayward Son. How can you look at this match on paper and go, why the fuck would you book that? Why wouldn't you book a single? Shut up. Just stop complaining for 5 minutes.
And just think about, like, the lore of...
There's so much.
Like, you have to... Like, I'm sorry, guys. The Golden Lovers is the greatest love story ever told. Like, you found a man on a tape, and you send the tape to go wrestle him in Japan. And then your careers are intertwined. You're a tag team. You're all this. Then you split up. You are both juniors. Then you become heavyweights. Then one goes off to, like, on excursion somewhere else, like WWE, like different places all throughout the world, just trying new things. Other ones, like, taking over the world. Then you eventually all fall back together, start tagging again. Once you finally climb to the top of the mountain, then this new company is formed. Then you're split up again. And then, like, you find your way back to each other. In the summer of 2023, 5 years later. And then now at a stadium show, and then you have the Hangman dynamic of just, like, that's so much of Kenny's story when AEW started, of them as a tag team, so much of both of their stories.
Yeah.
And, like, even think about, like, Hangman is the one who called Kota Ibushi a homewrecker back in the days of, like, you know, the Bullet Club days in New Japan. There's just been a lot of evolution here. Like, that same night, even in Ring of Honor, I think when Kenny faced Cody, the same night Kota Ibushi faced Hangman Page. There's a lot of history here. Now everybody's back on the same side. And even, like, I like to go back to Blood and Guts because, you know, Hangman's face was a little weird at the end with Kenny and Kota. And then that's just them. Like, they have enough drama just within the three of them.
And that's just one trio.
That's just one trio.
And then you look at the other side, and you have Bullet Club Gold and Takeshita. And, like, Takeshita has so much history with Kenny and Ibushi as well. And then just Jay White. Just Jay White and everyone on the other side. Like, he antagonized them all awfully in New Japan.
Absolutely.
Like, they just tore each other apart in Japan, and now they're back wrestling each other in AEW, and it's insane. And again, in the same, like, sense that we shout out AR Fox, shout out Juice Robinson.
Juice Robinson, absolutely.
Because again, if you had told me 6 months ago Juice Robinson's going to get a marquee match on AEW All In Wembley Stadium, I would have been like, I'm a Juice fan, but really?
When AEW originally signed him, I remember being, like, really confused because I was just like, signing him without the rest of the club, especially, like, Jay wasn't even available then. So I'm like,
yeah,
seems kind of odd. Like, what is he actually doing here? And then obviously Jay comes to AEW. Those two just belong together. Like, yeah, they belong together. And also Juice Robinson is just so great in his own right, I would say, of just being, like, super powerful. And I think that he's coming to his own, and he's just really solid, and he's dependable. Yeah. And I think, honestly, in wrestling in this day and age, the best thing that you can be is dependable. Like, and I think that is one thing that people have to realize that I do believe that AEW rewards that. And I think that's why the
Mm-hmm.
people who are on this card are on this card. Like, for example, best friends have lost most of their matches over the past year.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're dependable. And so there was no way they were going to, like, purposefully get left off of the Wembley card.
Yeah.
Like, you have people like Darby over some of the other pillars. Darby's dependable. Like, when it comes to the like, he's not going to miss. And so yeah, I think just shout out to Juice Robinson. Like, he's been such a highlight. Like, for me, Bullet Club Gold is the highlight of Collision. I watch for them.
Yeah.
They're awesome. This match is gonna be insane. I think I'm gonna cry. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I get emotional just thinking about it because it's just such a special match that I really never thought we would ever get. So I'm so excited.
Somebody on Twitter was like, what are you gonna do if Kenny and Kota just start making out in front of Eddie K, brother? Y'all. Y'all.
Oh, dear.
I actually don't know what we're gonna do. I will say the camera did pan a little bit away from the Golden Lovers too much for my liking after Blood and Guts, and so I need better. I need better. But also, I'm going to be able to be there with my own naked eyes, so I don't have to worry about it. So that's where we are with the trios match. Moving on, we have Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay. I actually don't hate this match.
I don't either. I think it's actually going to be really good.
I think it's really good, and people have to also understand. Listen, Jericho's old. We get it, but at the same time, does everything that he do land? No, but we do. There would be no AEW without Chris Jericho, and like, absolutely, if we continue to like pretend that there is, like, you're just lying. Like, you're just lying. There's no way TNT does not jump back into the wrestling business without at least one household name, such as a Jericho, who can, like, carry the brand. There was a reason why he was the first champion at the original All In. Who attacks Kenny Omega after the match with Penta? He's been just as much as a part of this story as people like the Elite from day one. And I think that, give him his props. I think, like, also Jericho's put a lot of people over, and obviously he's going to put Will Ospreay over in this match. And also, like, Chris Jericho's actually had a fair decent amount of good matches over the past year. The Ring of Honor Championship reign was really good. Like, when you look back at some of those matches, the Ocho reign was really good. Obviously the best ones were probably the Ishii match as well as Bandito. Were excellent. One of my favorite TV matches of this year was Chris Jericho versus Roderick Strong. Now, that one, a lot of people forget that Falls Count Anywhere match just because there's just been so much great wrestling this year.
Yeah.
That was one of the best matches this year. Like, hands down, like, that was entertaining. Obviously the Adam Cole match was a dud.
It happens.
It happens. I think Adam Cole was still just trying to get his groove back, and he found it. So no harm, no foul. Everybody's fine. And also, like, Jericho's cut the Jericho Appreciation Society loose. Well, Ospreay is now part of Don Callis' family.
Yes, he sure is.
And I think also, like, this is just a great moment for Ospreay of just, like, obviously he's not an AEW contracted talent, but when you look at, he's really sacrificed himself and put his body on the line a lot, specifically over the past year, for the sake of British wrestling and holding down the UK British wrestling scene. Like, he's essentially, at some points, really just put it on his back. I would say, like, him and Zack Sabre Jr. have been those flag bearers, but for Will Ospreay to do it, like, was doing it, like, literally in his 20s. Being the flag bearer for a generation. Now, has he always gotten it right? No. But it's absolutely admirable. And so I think him getting that type of moment at Wembley, I think is really special. And I think Jericho is a great opponent for him to be a legend.
I think the match is going to be really good. I really do think they're going to knock it out of the park, and they're going to shut a lot of people up with it. Like, Jericho on a big stage almost always hits. Like,
absolutely. And to be a legend, let's just be real. You have to beat legends. And like Will Ospreay this year has been all about beating legends. He's beaten Omega. He's beaten Okada. Jericho is also probably going to be like, up next. So it's just, this is exactly, this is the time. Like this is Legends Wrestling with Legends. And also after that G1, I'm convinced that Will Ospreay can carry just about anybody to a minimum 4-star match. Like
Absolutely.
the match that he got out of Tetsuya Naito in 2023.
Yes.
A half conscious Tetsuya Naito in 2023. Insanity. Like, that's literally one of the best matches this year. It's in my top 5. Will Ospreay is in 3 of my top 5 matches of this year.
It's just insane. I've said it like so many times now, but this has like been his most important in-ring career year yet.
Yeah.
And like he's just had marquee match after marquee match. And genuinely, if anyone deserved, like outside of Zack Sabre Jr., there's like no other British wrestler that isn't signed to the company that deserved this spot. So I'm just really happy for Ospreay. I think this could be incredible. And let's be real here. Let's get to the important stuff. Judas and Elevated in front of 80,000 people. Oh my God, is this going to be fantastic?
I'm not gonna lie. They need to. I would pay somebody to get that the card lineup in advance, just because I need to know how to conserve my energy. Because like there's so many great iconic themes we're going to hear. Like even starting off with the Aussie Open. Like that first Aussie, and then like that the Better Than You Baby mashup. Thing.
Cult of Personality, like Wayward Son, Wild Thing.
We have Swerve's theme.
Whose House?
Whose House?
That's gonna be crazy. Oh man.
And I mean, well, we can go to it now. Like the next one, the Young Bucks one. I think. Super Kick Party! Oh my gosh. And it's just been we rarely get to hear it anymore because they've been wrestling mostly trios.
Yeah.
So, oh man, that's going to be special. And obviously FTR's theme is a banger. It doesn't have any words.
And British crowds love it.
Yeah.
British crowds still sing along to it. They don't care that it doesn't have words. They sing along to it.
It's a banger. And so I guess time to talk about it. This tag match.
When All In was announced, this was the match that I wanted. I didn't care how they got there. I didn't care like anything else about it. I was just like, they need to do FTR vs Young Bucks 3 at Wembley Stadium. And when it got made official, I got so emotional.
So I actually thought my dream match was FTR versus Aussie Open, simply because I thought that Hung Bucks were going to be doing something.
Yeah.
But I am just as, if not more, happy with this. I think I've said this numerous times. I had been really missing Young Bucks tag matches. Like, of course, I love the trio stuff, but I have really been missing Young Bucks tag matches. And it looks like FTR finally got their groove back, or at least in big time situations. Their matches with Bullet Club Gold were excellent. And so this is going to be, we're looking at what could be the tag match of the generation. And like, and that's
so special to me.
And that's saying a lot because last year I feel like we were in a position where we were looking at the tag matches of a generation in FTR versus Briscoes.
Yes.
Yeah. This is going to be special. Hopefully, Killer Cash keeps the Thule in his bag this time. But
oh my God, what a chaotic few hours that was. I just water under the bridge. Well, not officially, but as a fan, I'm just like, whatever, it happened.
At this point, literally, after all that we've been through, and when I say, I'm not even talking about All In, I'm talking about everything that we have been through, all out from last year. Good God, just run the damn match. Just guys, we can clear everything. Listen, we can all go to group therapy and human resources after All In. And honestly, I think I've said this. I think that AEW, they need to go like on a company retreat after All Out.
Honestly, they need an off season. They really do.
Everybody just needs to go on a break, literally just talking. But until then, let's just make it, guys. And this
like,
match obviously has match of the night. Written
anyone that knows me knows that the Young Bucks are my favorite tag team ever. And this will be like, I've seen, like, obviously after this year, I've seen them live a couple of times now, but this is my first time seeing them in a straight up tag match. Like, because of, I saw them in the trios match of Revolution, I saw them in the 10-man at Forbidden Door. This will be the first time I've seen them ever wrestle a straight up tag match live.
You're right. I was just thinking of like, have I ever seen them? But no, my first time when I was at, actually, no, I saw them at a Dynamite, but like on a pay-per-view, I was at Full Gear when the Elite returned. So obviously that was a trios match versus Death Triangle. And so, yeah, you're right.
So seeing them like in a tag team match for the first time in the UK against, say what you want about FTR, they always have fantastic matches together. So it's going to be fantastic no matter what. It's just, as a fan, this is the match that I am the most excited for this weekend because it's tag team wrestling. It's my favorite tag team ever to do it in such a huge position, and they're probably going to win the belts.
If they don't, I think somebody's parole officer is going to have something to say about it.
Yeah.
I do think that out of all the matches, this one has the longest story on the card. Obviously, there's history like there with like other individuals and like in different matches, but this is the longest AEW story on the card, like the most long-term story. And yeah, I think we're looking at a match of the year candidate, and it hasn't even happened yet. Like the Bucks don't miss in big matches. FTR doesn't miss in big matches, especially versus big time opponents. Like I have my critiques about FTR, but none of them are about the in-ring. So this is guaranteed probably one of the matches of the night.
If you see me in Wembley Stadium, I'll probably be crying during this match. Like I'm gonna get super emotional. It's
absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking
happy.
I was thinking about wearing my Young Bucks shoes, but like they're so uncomfortable. I would have to change the soles out. We'll see. Maybe I will if I have enough time to go like get like some comfy soles to put in there. Yeah. So if you see me in Young Bucks shoes, that's definitely me. Next, AEW Women's World Championship 4-way. There's a lot of feelings about this match. I'm going to start with the positive. I think it's really, really, really awesome that Shida is walking into Wembley as champion.
Absolutely.
I think that you want to talk about people who have been like absolutely integral to the company. I look at people like obviously the Elite. You look at people like Jon Moxley. You look at people like Orange Cassidy, and you have to look at Hikaru Shida. Everything gets better when she's there. She's been killing in Japan lately, obviously doing a lot with Pro Wrestling Wave and Ice Ribbon, but it's great to have her back. And it's honestly just awesome seeing her hold that belt. Toni Storm has been very solid and dependent. Like it goes back to being dependable. Of just like, was she always in optimal placement on the card? No, but Toni Storm, every time you put her on the card, she delivers. She's a solid in-ring worker, and now she's finding her character as well. And the thing is, she's one of the most decorated women's wrestlers like ever, and she's not even 30.
It's crazy.
Absolutely insane. Like how talent, like she's done Stardom, she's done WWE, she's done AEW, now 2-time AEW Women's World Champion. So those are the good parts. And I'll even say like even a good part of people say what they want about Britt. Her in-ring is not great right now. It's not. But at the same time, it is really cool to see like one person from the original All In 4-way be in this 4-way, and that's also why it's a 4-way match. Like obviously I think sometimes wrestling companies do 4-ways just for no reason, but this actually is a callback to the original All In being a 4-way. On to the negatives. I will say like I really hope that everybody delivers, and I really hope that everybody puts their A game on, because at the same time, like I think that women's wrestling is going to be judged by this moment, and especially on this big stage, on this major stage, the biggest wrestling event in history. And I just want everybody to step it up. Obviously, Sheeta and Tony are going to do what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, Britt works well in multi-woman matches. Like,
Yeah, she
a tag
does.
match or some multi-woman. I'm not worried about her, actually. I'm worried about Soraya.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I understand she's the country woman here. I don't know how big that Soraya pop is going to be. I can't.
I genuinely don't know what the reception's going to
I
be.
can't speak for like obviously the British, but I will say I follow quite a few UK people,
Mm-hmm.
and I've heard nobody saying, "Man, I can't wait to see Soraya." I've heard nobody. I've heard people gutted about Jamie not being able to wrestle.
Yes.
Also, that sucks. I really hate that. But I haven't heard anybody like, "Oh my gosh, can't wait to see Soraya." And so, I really hope that Tony does not overestimate how much fans would be invested in a possible Soraya title win, because it's not there.
Please God don't.
Yeah, it's not there. And also, Sheeta should 100% retain.
Oh, absolutely. Like, there's no question in my mind that if Sheeta doesn't retain, Tony should win.
Mhm.
But Sheeta should absolutely keep the belt.
Absolutely. But I think this match does have potential. I'm mostly worried about Soraya, I will say, but
Yeah.
Soraya is also really good about rolling out of the ring and like just disappearing for half the match while
Mm-hmm.
some people wrestle. So we're good. And also, I'm really hopeful that another match is added to the card. I would love to see Chris Statlander
Me
on this
too.
card. Athena as well. Like, Athena needs to be on this card some way, shape, form.
God, yes, absolutely. Like, I love Athena so much, and she kills it all the time. Like, she's one of the best women's wrestlers in the world right now. So
Period.
like, I know we don't like to talk about people like deserving to be on a card, but Athena deserves to be on this card.
Absolutely. Like, if we want to talk about just like pure performance, Athena's so good. She has made her squash matches entertaining.
Yep.
And I can't think of it just about anybody else who does that. Like, she's been just killing it lately. Obviously, like, she's had stuff going on with like Diamante and stuff on Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that like feeds into Collision. Maybe she'll challenge Chris Statlander, because she has talked about how her title is getting lonely and she wants a twin flame.
Yeah.
She wants to go after something else. She recently tweeted at Julia about the New Japan Strong Belt. So there's just a lot happening there. I hope to see her on that card. Obviously, we don't 100% know if the card is finished. I don't think too much would be added, but I do hope another women's match is added. And
Yeah.
also, I really do hope they put some battle royals on there. I feel like everybody deserves, like, Kip Sabian deserves a little pop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, great
Yeah.
folks. Last but not least, MJF versus Adam Cole, the AEW World Championship. Listen, if you had told me I would say like 2 months ago that this was going to be the main event of All In, I would be like, fuck no. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not big enough. But wow, Better Than You, baby, really took off. Like, it
Yeah.
really took off. They're smashing merch sales. And yeah, people love it. Like, those crowd reactions, people love it. And I think that they really grew into this main event. And like, I feel like people are
Mm-hmm.
really excited about it. Like, even like the biggest critics, like LOL me, are even excited about it. And so I think that that's just a credit to like the work that they've done. I'm excited for it.
Me too.
And obviously that 0 hour match is going to build a lot of anticipation for the main event. They played this really right. And like, I really hate that it took almost 8 months to right the ship of the MJF
Yeah.
reign, because I feel like nobody else gets that much grace to like fix things. But hey, that's where we are now. Not crying over spilled milk. Like I said, I'm choosing to really focus on the positives, because like literally we're looking at what possibly could be the greatest wrestling weekend like ever.
Yeah.
And that's just really cool. And to be a part of it, and like obviously to be so young, and like to
Mm-hmm.
be on the media calls, to be in the scrum is going to be
Yes.
absolutely unreal. Like, it's just going to be unreal. So that's the card.
It sure is.
Any other thoughts about the All In card?
I'm excited for the main event. I feel like it's going to be a really big moment. I don't think we're actually going to see a turn here. I think they're going to keep Better Than You Baby going for a bit longer. But just the All In card, like, I'm so excited. And maybe it's because I'm going to be in the building. Maybe it's because it's in the
Yeah,
stadium. Maybe it's because, like, before this year, I'd not been able to go see so many of these wrestlers live. And now I've been to a couple of shows and I'm just, like, so excited for them to come over here. And, like, it's the first UK show. It's a really big weekend for, like, a fan like me. But I don't know.
I think
Pretty much all of my favorites are on this card. So I'm happy.
between like the night before and this night, literally everybody that I could have ever dreamed of to see live,
In
except
one
for people
weekend.
that are injured, except
Yeah.
for like literally Brian Danielson, Pack, and Jamie Hayter. Those are the
Yep.
only three people that I would have ever wanted out else, but they're obviously injured.
Yes.
I really can't ask for too much more. I don't know, other than maybe like Athena, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
literally I feel like I'm being fed. And also, like, for me personally, I feel like I hit a turning point last year. I went to Final Battle on a whim, and obviously I saw FTR Briscoe's 3
Yeah.
live, double dog collar, probably one of the greatest tag matches of all time. And like, obviously Jay Briscoe literally passed away like a month later, and it really, I don't think I would be going to All In if it wasn't for that, or even Forbidden Door too. It's just like, you always
Mm-hmm.
think that you have more time. Like, you always think like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll just catch the next one, or I'll catch the next one, or I'll catch the next one. But like, a lot of times I think we forget that nobody wrestles forever. Like, you're
Yes.
even like with Edge. Edge was my childhood favorite wrestler. Period. Like, just like, had his last WWE match this past weekend. It's just, nothing lasts forever. Like, nothing lasts
Mm-hmm.
forever. So it's important to like grab these moments. Like, this is probably the last time we're gonna ever see like Sting maybe wrestle in the UK.
Yeah.
Like, it's such cool stuff. And like, even like going back to like, the RevPro card when we were saying about Fujita and Gale, like, this is the first chapter of what's going to be a very long book for both of them. And so
Yeah.
it's just so important, I think, as a wrestling fan. There's so much cutthroat being thrown at us. There's so many options now, but we shouldn't take it for granted, because, like, literally 5 years ago, none of this existed.
Exactly.
None of this existed.
Sometimes you just gotta stop and smell the roses, and this is gonna be an insane weekend of wrestling, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it, honestly.
Absolutely. And so that's all, folks. Super, super, super busy week. By the time you listen to this, Dynamite will have already happened. But obviously, we haven't seen it yet because we're
Yes.
recording it on a Monday. But this is where we are. This is the preview of the Revolution Pro Wrestling 11th anniversary show at the historic Copper Box Arena, as well as AEW All In at Wembley Stadium. Make sure you can find the Rev Pro show on revproondemand.com by subscribing. I think it's about $8 a month. And then obviously you can find All In on pay-per-view. It will be on, I think it's on Bleacher Report in the
Yes.
States. And then internationally, it'll be on Fight. Zero Hour is on YouTube. Yeah, where can we find you, Charlie?
You guys can find me over at Wrestle Purists every Thursday. We go live with a Dynamite review, and then we do Twitch streams under the same name on Wrestle Purists. Like, sometimes we do Dynamite watch-alongs, Collision watch-alongs. And you guys can find me at CHX_RLIEX on Twitter. And if you add an O at the end of that, you can find me on Instagram as well.
Lovely. And you can find me at Lyric Wrestling on Twitter and Instagram. And you can tune into the weekly show that I'm a part of on Women's Wrestling Talk on Thursdays at 5 p.m. EST, the Rising Sun Rundown. We talk everything, typically Joshi related, and also things happening in New Japan. So, of course, we will be talking about the 5-star Grand Prix tournament happening in Stardom, as well as Julia's recent debut in the States for the Multiverse United show. So that's where you can find me on all things. Obviously, this is going to be a very busy week. So if you want to stay updated on everything that's happening, especially this weekend in London, me and Charlie will be at both shows, as well as at the media scrum for All In. And so it's going to be a lots of fun. But thanks everybody for tuning in, and can't wait to catch up with you all next week as we recap what's happened, whatever happens. Hoping for the
Yes.
best here. Alrighty, bye.
Bye.